Hello. So I've gotten myself this cute little thermal paper printer that prints on demand on thermal paper, and this doesn't use ink at all. What the machine does is it heats up the thermal paper, and the places it heats up turns black and the rest of it stays white. So it's a wholly inkless system, which means that you can print out all sorts of things to color on demand wherever you are. There's no wires or anything. It just connects to your phone or tablet or whatever. So I'm doing some tests with this with my PrismaColor colored pencils, because the colored pencils do a great job of being able to color in the little details, since these pieces of paper end up being fairly small, and gives you a vibrant color. So it's worth noting this is not colored pencil paper. So this won't be good for doing lots of different layers or doing all sorts of intricate blending and stuff. But in terms of doing some fun coloring on the road, if you're riding in a car or in a bus or something like that, this works very well. So I've done some of these without blending, and you can see that you can still see the pencil marks, but it colors in nicely. And then I did some with blending with a non-colored blending pencil, colorless blending pencil, with my cat is obsessed with. Yes, chew up the blending pencil. And it does blend reasonably nicely in the sense that it smooths out any lines that might have been there. But again, this paper won't take multiple layers of things. I've got all the cats now. All the different layers. It won't take a lot of different layers because the paper is very smooth and doesn't have a lot of ridges or edges to catch it in. So I'm going to show you now with this dragon design how this works and give you a sense of what the paper is like. So the paper is super smooth and super thin. All it is quite thin paper with a little bit of the thermal whatever agent is in there, so that it reacts very nicely to the heat to be able to create the design. We'll see if the cat allows me to get in here to do the demonstration for you. Alright, well, we'll make him a red dragon just because it's easy, and I'll do it right on here so we work around the cat. Colored pencil works well for these because these designs tend to be fairly small. Oh wait, look, I get my space back. Because the designs that these tend to print are fairly small, since it's only the piece of paper that can come out of the machine. So a colored pencil works well because you can sharpen them to have fairly small tips. If you had a giant thick-edged marker or a thick-edged crayon or something like that, you might not be able to get into the little nooks and crannies of the design that you're working with. So the paper holds the color reasonably well. It's a very different sensation drawing on this or coloring on this than on a traditional colored pencil paper, because this is extraordinarily smooth. Like I said, it doesn't have any ridges or nooks or crannies at all, because its purpose is to create very sharp images for, like, receipts when you buy stuff, and shopping lists and other things that involve letters and numbers. So when it's drawing the images, it gives you the advantage that it's going to draw the images fairly crisp, but in terms of coloring, it's not going to give you a lot of texture in the paper to be able to hold lots of different layers. Alright, so hopefully you can see. Let me just finish his tail area off. I'm bearing down a little hard because I'm not intending to do lots of layers with this for the reasons that I mentioned. But I'm not bearing down as hard as I can. But still, you can see that the color is nice and rich. The details are all in there. If I wanted to go back and add layer after layer to fill in these little white spots, or to use a blending pencil, I could. But I'm not going to be able to put down a lot of layers of pigments because there just isn't any texture in the paper to hold the actual little bits of color, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so let's do the blending tool. Here, I'll do the blending tool on the wing part. So this is a colorless blending pencil. Alright, let's see if I can hold that up for you to see. Alright, so the blending pencil does smooth out the individual lines of it to give it a more uniform look. You can still see the little lines on the part that I did not blend, but the color is nice and dark. It's sticking on there. I can get it to smear a little bit because this paper is so smooth, but you know, that's probably true for pretty much any paper if you really bore down on it and try to smear it. So in general, this works really nicely. It is a good, convenient, on-the-go thing for practicing. You know, you could do color samples. You could print out 20 of these dragons and try them in different color combinations and see which one you really liked before you did a larger piece of art that was based on that. So there's all sorts of uses for doing these little kinds of coloring projects, and I found that the PrismaColor works very well because the colors tend to be saturated and rich, and the colored pencil concept in general versus thick markers or crayons works very well to get into the little edges of the image. So let me know if you have any questions about using a thermal paper printer with PrismaColor colored pencils.